Morning, you've reached Andy with Mountain Computers. Today is Tuesday. President's weekend was long. I took a nice little break. But today I want to talk about internet browsers. There's only 3 out there that I put in my blog over the weekend, and it has to do with which browser, internet browser, when you surf the internet, is best for you. And it depends. There's like really 5 or 6, 7 browsers out there right now, but there's only the top 3. And in my blog, I actually have a link that says, here's the top, in the top 10 reviews, what are the browsers like? So number 1, Firefox. That's what I use. People I've worked with in the past, they like Chrome better, but I like Firefox, and there's some reasons for that. So number 1 is Firefox. Number 2 is Chrome. Number 3, really it's a toss-up between Microsoft Edge and Internet Explorer. I don't like Internet Explorer. I call it Internet Exploder because it's so hard to fix when it gets broken, because it's sort of like tied into the whole system. There's a new and up-and-coming browser called Brave. That's sort of a spin-off from Chrome. I mean, there's Chromium too. Chromium, that's sort of a slippery when wet kind of browser that I've seen that that users say they like, but I see more problems with it than not. So Firefox, Chrome, Edge, Internet Explorer, Brave, and then there's 2 more really that are out there, and that's Opera and Safari. Now, if you're a Mac user, you know what Safari is. If you're a PC user, you know what Internet Explorer is. Now, going back 20 years ago, you had 2 competitors. You had Microsoft and Netscape. Netscape Navigator 4.5, which I loved, and Internet Explorer. And at the time I was at Microsoft, it was like Internet Explorer 3, 4, 5, and 6. When I started Microsoft, the internet was just starting to come to the forefront. And so we had a Microsoft online group. Several of the people that I worked with at Microsoft went off to that group and helped start that. I stayed with the product channels, you know, in the servers and the database channel, in support and over in operations. And a lot of them went over to the Microsoft Online Services group. So that's when Microsoft really was making a change in how they approach the internet. Internet Explorer was, shall I say, not perfect. They were trying to add functionality without getting international consensus, so they're always on the bleeding edge. I always wrote software using Netscape Navigator as my test benchmark because they followed the worldwide consortium on internet development with JavaScript and HTML, where Microsoft didn't. Was it the developer's fault or was it the management's fault? It was a little of both. They were trying to push the envelope, trying to get things done at Microsoft to add more functionality. Well, that created a problem for everyone, where all of the software we developed at Microsoft, we were using Netscape Navigator to benchmark things, and we were bug-free when it came down to just rolling things out, where the other Microsoft groups were buggy as hell. Why I diverged on that? I think it was to give you some background, to explain where we are today. So Microsoft should really get out of the game of Internet Explorer, which they did. They got rid of it. They were saying don't use it anymore, and there's good reason. I don't know if it's because it's free and there's no money in it, but their attempt with Edge, when you start Edge and it shows you all this speed and performance and they're better, technically they're not. I think it's some marketing people that just don't know how to not pay attention to what's really going on. Of course, marketing they always want to be the winners, like we're the best. But if you actually sit down and look at Internet Explorer or Edge in comparison to Firefox and Chrome, you'll see Firefox is so much better in all things, from installation to usability to application support, functionality, plugins, resetting it, fixing it, multiple platforms. Now, Firefox did go through some iterations where it went from 32 to 64-bit and dropped some ability for some of the gamers to run on the Java platform and run some other things like on Pogo, some gaming platforms. but and I have a lot of clients who are older and they like gaming all day long, and when Firefox 32-bit phased out and 64-bit came along, and a lot of their gaming things continued to stop because of Java plugins and Java breaking and stopping. I'm actually glad they're to 64-bit for security and performance reasons. But then there's something stupid that happened. These background threads. You know, when you close the browser and it continues to run in the background, I think that's ridiculous. Firefox and Chrome was already doing that. And when you look at your system performance and you see how much RAM Chrome and Firefox are using, it's ridiculous. I mean, they are just sucking up so much RAM in the background, which I think is really bad. Now, if you get to a virtual server where you have terminal server or remote work desktop workspaces, just one user, multiple users, it's gonna, with Chrome running, it's going to eat up a lot of RAM, which I think sucks. And I worry about that with some of the servers we're building now. What else? Oh, options. When you bring up Firefox and Chrome, a lot of people can't find the options or the settings, or in the old days it was like help and about or preferences. In the top right corner, top right, which is your right, my right is over here, that's your left. There's three little dots. You open that up and there will be settings and options. In there, in Firefox and Chrome, you can reset the browser, which won't delete your passwords, won't delete some of your settings, but it will clean up some of the junk that's in there. I recommend when people get into a jam to do that. What else? Oh, syncing. Syncing. I love syncing between computers using your browser. I think that's pretty cool. Just like all things, what will be hacked next? I certainly hope the database that controls the ability for us to sync between browsers on different computers doesn't get hacked. That would be a bad day, because a lot of people have all their passwords in either their browser or in some sort of password database application. I just helped a guy restore his 1Password application utility that had all of his passwords and all his usernames for his Firefox and Chrome browser, and it was a lot. So, what else? I think that's about it. So the three browsers, I know this is Monday, I'm just getting started, so it's a little rough. So the three browsers, Firefox, and in my blog I actually explain it briefly why each is better than the other. I'm not going to go on and on. And some people tell me I talk too much, but I really need you to understand that it's Firefox, Chrome. I mean, I tried Opera for a while. Safari, Mac people. Mac people are sort of interesting. They sort of get stuck in it. I believe if Apple went away and their Mac went away and Safari went away, I think they'd be lost. The PC people are a little bit more flexible all around. And that's why a lot of things are, even though the Mac has a very good following, it's just so expensive, and the price never seems to come down. It always is like, here's the new thing, and yeah, it costs us 1/10 than the last time, but we'll still charge you the same amount. Thank God their browser's free, and everybody's browser is free. The internet still should be free, but when you surf the internet, which browser are you going to use? I use Firefox. For some older workstations, I'll go download the old version of Firefox, the 32-bit, and it'll actually stop. If I want to keep it there and not go to 64-bit, I'll stop the updates. I think that's about it. Firefox, Chrome, Edge. I'll turn on the Internet Explorer on some computers, because some people just love that blue E. I don't. Even though Microsoft, I did a lot with Microsoft, and Microsoft did a lot for me. They wouldn't listen to me too much, but that's okay. I think that's about it. So anyhow, this is Andy at Mountain Computers. It's Tuesday, it feels like Monday, and I'm a little rough and groggy getting started again, but I hope you enjoy this. Be sure to like and subscribe and share and donate. You know, looking for sponsors. I think that's about it. I might do this one, redo this one again, and give you another version. It's a little shorter. Call it part 2 or revised. And that's about it for now. Have a great day, and more to come.